Welcome to the Straight from the Source's Mouth podcast. Frank talk about sex and dating.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Tamara, and you're welcome to the Straight from the Source's Mouth podcast. Frank talk about sex and dating. I'm going to do something a little different. This is what I intend to be a series of talking to exes, starting with my ex-husband. And the intent is that I share what I've learned over the years and how I've grown over the years. And I'm going to kind of do a chronological order. And so we'll see how this goes. And I will not be saying who, but just this is my ex-husband that we're going to be talking. So thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Are you happy to see me, or did you just burn your chin on the stove?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we have this thing where he thinks when my chin is red, it means I'm excited. And I just have rosacea, but we can, I just put makeup on it even. Anyway, all right. So to get started, I just wanted to talk about, obviously, I don't know, I kind of want to start like how we started. Like we met through my sister, as we know, and you guys went to school together, and then I showed up after. Did you already graduate by the time I showed up?
Close to it if I hadn't graduated.
Yeah. And then, or when we actually met, because I think you were like towards the end, but I was there for maybe the same time. Anyway, the point is we met right before I was leaving. I had like 3 weeks left in town. So we both kind of just hung out all the time and said we weren't going to, this was going nowhere. We were just going to have fun for the first 3 weeks. And then
it was too much fun. She couldn't leave.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. So obviously I was I don't know. I guess how did we stay together, do you think? Or how did we get together? So I know I have my ideas, but let's say I hear from you. Or like what made us work, or what made us want to keep hanging out?
I don't know. At first, you were on good behavior. I didn't see the jealous girl for some time. Once she showed up, it was pretty tough.
Yeah, I know, but we're starting in the beginning. So in the beginning, it was just we started out just wanting to have fun.
We decided it was going to be a fun 3 weeks, but it was actually a fun couple of years.
Yeah.
Mostly fun couple of years. Yes,
true. I mean, all right, since you brought up the jealousy thing, I mean, you are a very attractive.
Highs and some low lows, but the good highs outweighed the good low lows. It was mutual. Yes. We left mutually.
Yeah. Yes. But since you brought up the jealous thing, I just want to say you are a very attractive person. So, and rather than taking it out on, I don't know, I mean, people were looking at you and I would get jealous, but you didn't even know they were looking at you, and I would get mad at you for it.
They were in the room. I didn't know they were present. I was too busy trying to figure out how to get your clothes off.
Yes, true. And I was clueless, and I was sure that whenever women looked, I got mad at you, and you didn't even know it half the time. So this brings me to
the next girl I dated. She had snakes in her head. They were always telling her things.
Yes.
I couldn't have dated her without your abuse.
All right. So the intent, like I said, of this is to see where I've grown and what I've learned. So I'm going to mention one of the things I've learned.
Might want to kind of put some blush on your chin.
This is only going to be on the audio, so it doesn't matter for the listeners. Thank you. So yeah, this is going well so far. I don't know. So the biggest thing with the jealousy, obviously, it wasn't under your control, and I shouldn't have taken it out on you. And it's more about attachment styles. And having an anxious attachment style, I felt like you were going to abandon me and leave me for these other women all the time. So I was like extra jealous. And there's a book called Attached, which I have read and now understand that I'm mostly anxious, also somewhat avoidant. This topic has been on the podcast a few times. So, it's obviously just insecurity and low self-worth and all that stuff, which a lot of women have. Go ahead.
I had a dog that ate my apartment one time when I left it, and it was because I was anxious.
True. Yes. Anxiety is not a helpful trait to have at all times.
But you had good traits too, I will admit. There's you made up for all the bad things. in your own way. And they were good. And I was always very happy.
Yeah. Thank you.
After you made up for whatever you were doing.
I know. Well, and you did say that once I was like too mean for a while or too much, I would always make it up by doing something nice or sweet after.
Yes, you would do that.
Yeah. But I don't know. So one of the biggest things was like not learning, like we did the men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. We tried to like, I tried to understand that as a man, you are different than me as a woman. And you need respect. Like all men need respect. Like that's like literally the thing that gets men going. But I also didn't understand the cave thing. Like as soon as you'd walk in the door, I would like bombard you and you needed your space and time to walk in the door and like adjust to like being home versus being at work.
Well, you're always worried about
I know.
Go ahead. You're always afraid other girls would look at me, but you always make me undress before I came in the door because I was so dirty. We had that hot chick across the hall that would come out and look when you made me do that.
All right. So I'm a bit of a clean freak and he was very dirty cleaning trees or trimming trees. So he literally would have like dirt all over him. So I was like, I don't want all that dirt coming in the house. Yeah. Control freak. I was a control freak. So we know this.
Okay.
Was. The operative word is was. This is what I'm trying to share, how much I've grown and I no longer try to control everything. And what helped me do that real quick is the Landmark Forum, as you are aware. And it's a weekend seminar where you learn all about your past and your triggers and what happened for you. And I don't know, like it goes back to abandonment too, where if I controlled it, you couldn't leave me. That's what I thought in my mind before I did all this stuff.
I never would have ever wanted to leave you if you weren't trying to bite me all the time. Or biting would have been all right, but you're always kicking me or swatting me or something.
Wow. Yeah. People are going to think I'm crazy for doing this, but I mean, that's kind of the point. Like,
she's crazy. Speaking of crazy, if anyone's seen the Hot Crazy Matrix, Tamara is the ultimate redhead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think most people are aware of that. And if not, they can look it up rather than take the time.
Redhead. I mean, you are the redhead deluxe.
All right. And I'm not even going to delete this stuff out. I'm literally just going to keep it as it is so people can learn like how much I've grown since being this way.
So now you're a 8, 9 on the hot scale, and instead of being a 15 on the crazy, you're a 12 on the crazy. Where are we?
No, I'm much lower on the crazy.
Okay, little cray, not as cray, huh?
Can we just say that we've been divorced a very long time too? So, yeah, we haven't seen each other in like 12 or 15,
we
20. I don't even know. Yeah, I mean we talk, but we haven't seen each other in person.
Tamara's one of the greatest women in the world. There's no better, except my dog.
All right. Let me see where I want to go with the next part. But yeah, okay. So one of our issues was we were both I wouldn't say we weren't overly young. We were like, late 20s, 29 to be exact, 30.
Yeah, we were. We should have been more grown up than we were. We were both.
yeah, true. We were not as young in age, but we were young in how we acted. So we were both very stubborn and we were both like just absolutely had to have our way.
We were premature millennials.
Premature millennials, yeah. So I would say that one of the reasons why it didn't work is because you had all that free time. Like we said we were going to get married, which I gave you the ultimatum. We can talk about that too. But once we decided we would get married, then I went away for a month for work and you had all that freedom. That's how I think this is where it all started. You had that total freedom for a month of me being gone. And you liked that freedom so much. When I came back trying to be my controlling self, you are not having it anymore. And that is where like the real struggle started, I think. It wasn't like you said, it wasn't all bad, but we went to the counselor.
We had our hot and colds.
Yeah, true. But remember we went to a counselor and he said we were like brother and sister and mother and son. Because I was like, so obviously that combo does not make for a healthy relationship necessarily. But I'm sure we've both grown since then. But like I said, I'm just trying to.
It puts a dog in the pen. I was a dog.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I definitely learned a lot since then. I've definitely learned a lot. And then if my intention works where I have other exes, we can see what they will say about my growth or not. But I would say I have grown quite a bit because, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. All right. So, and then the other thing that I think, like our communication could have been better. Like that's one area which I talk about a lot on the podcast is just, we would rather be right rather than hear each other. So that was part of the issue. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that part?
I'd rather be silent than deal with the aftermath of speaking the truth. The truth hurts that who told it.
Yeah, good point. And a lot of men do that for sure. They'd rather just be quiet and like not have to, just act like, yep, you're right, you're right, you're right. Or just say nothing, like you said.
Yeah, the truth's not supposed to hurt to tell her.
Yeah.
It does if it can.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to bring up was this thing called the imago theory, where it's from the book, Getting the Love You Want. Basically how you are drawn to your caretakers or people that act like your caretakers. And I know your mom was a little controlling, so it could be, and the imago theory is that you choose people that remind you of your caretakers so you can heal the wounds, the childhood wounds you got. So you seek out people that remind you, which is, I would say, one of our things. I don't know if it was the other way around, but
I don't think that was quite your control. I remember it wasn't your.
Well, no, but you were drawn to me because you were used to being controlled. Not that you liked it, but you were just used to it. Yeah, you didn't necessarily like it at all, but because we want to recreate, and that's why we are like drawn to each other. That's how people choose each other. Is they could absolutely not want it, but they're just like that's who you're drawn to. Is okay. People. At least that's one theory it's called imago theory from Getting the Love You Want. But yeah. All right. So I've covered all the stuff I wanted to say, like, in the areas I've grown necessarily. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the ultimatum? Because I know you said you didn't feel necessarily ready, but I was like, I was feeling the societal pressure. Not that there is that more anymore, but at the time I was feeling the societal pressure of just, needing to be married. And you can share your thoughts on that.
I could say there was ultimatum, and I don't think there was a better girl out there than Tamara, and I still don't think there's too many that score much higher. I didn't want to lose her. I didn't want her to go away, and I didn't really want to be married, but I sure as heck didn't want her to go. So I guess that's kind of worked on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think
now we can talk, and if I could pull her through the computer screen, she'd come.
As in, are you saying which version?
Both.
Yeah. All right. I'm definitely going to be interested to hear people's reactions to this. Yeah. And actually, I want to say for the record, the woman that suggested I do like a series like this, I met her in Los Angeles when I was there for a podcast conference. We happened to sit next to each other, and she works for like Kevin Hart's network, and she was a marketing person. And she was like, oh, you could talk to your exes. I'm like, I am still friendly with them, so I should probably do that. And I like the idea of trying to show in the ways I've grown and then the tools that people can work through, as they go through life. So, and the resources I've found out about. But I'm sure you'd rather talk about sex.
Oh, we can always talk about that time after your commanding officer's dinner party. That was.
Oh no, I don't know. That's not talking about sex, though.
Well, that wasn't sex, but it was definitely a close. We definitely knew we could deal with each other in the worst circumstances.
All right, so should we do the short version? And just
you tell. If you want to talk about that.
All right, I'll talk about my version. So in my version, we may or may not have been food poisoned by my boss's wife when she cooked for us. All of us went to a dinner, and then we only had a 1-bathroom apartment at the time. And we literally had to get each other out of there quickly, or apparently you remember it.
We just stayed
even
in there.
More close quarters.
We play musical
Yeah.
toilet seat.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something a lot of people want to hear about, but
But if we could laugh,
but
how many of them have something like that to laugh about?
yeah, yeah. It's definitely interesting times. And he felt terrible, obviously, when we were all back at work and told him that we all had gotten sick from the food. I mean, it tasted great at the time, but yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, anything, do you feel like I don't know, what have you learned over the years as far as relationships or like what makes them work? Because you have a long-term relationship now for like many years.
We just worked together. We both had needs that the other could fulfill. They weren't all sexual. They were life matters that we both had the ability to. She had a son who was going through some very emotional details, and I don't know, after Tamara, I could deal with anybody's emotions. So I think I was able to, she prepared me to deal with a crazy kid.
Yeah.
It worked out well. He's grown and he's had a baby of his own, and we work together now. So it worked out for the better. I couldn't deal with Tamara.
I'm glad I could prepare you. And actually, I say that to my sister. Like, I was so mean to her. I wasn't always mean to her, like, but there were times when I was a little mean.
Remember we talked about how she'd leave the house early, and you just from the third floor apartment, and you just throw the trash bag out the window, and it would meet her at the floor.
I did that once because three of us were sharing the apartment, her and her friend and I. And those two were sharing a room and I had my own, and they would not clean up the common areas, which I really preferred. So yeah, when they didn't take out the trash. One time I dropped it when they were going to be passing it so they could put it in the trash. Yeah. I mean, I knew this wouldn't all be positive for me, but I didn't think it would. I didn't
she's
think
not.
I know. No, I mean, I definitely did that once. And like I said, I started to say, my sister, that's why I told her, I prepared her for life because I was rough and like hard to deal with. So she had to learn to adapt and became more resilient.
And after I dated Tamara, I dated a girl who had some pretty jealous and pretty crazy, and same issue. She ran guys off, and I stayed with her longer than anybody because I'd stuck it out with Tamara for a while. I was used to abuse.
No, you don't mean like, well, yeah. Cool. All right. This is well. I was hoping to like bring some like positive learning.
I would take Tamara back in any day. So she's fine. She's crazy, but she makes up for it, and she might be better now. Maybe she's not as crazy. So if you just get the making up for it, you'd be spoiled.
Well, I would. Yeah. I mean, actually, okay. So I've grown, but yeah, I still have some areas to work on. But I'm definitely not as controlling. I will say that for sure, because you can't control others. But I don't know. It stems from insecurity and all the things that a lot of women deal with. Because as women, we were, especially back in the day, we were like second-class citizens, and men were the ones that got all the benefits and all the things. And we've definitely come a long, long way on that.
Insurance.
What'd you say?
I had to at least tell you you're beautiful at least once an hour. It's kind of like low-level employees. You got to pay them once an hour. You got to compliment Tamara once an hour.
I would say all women need that. And not once an hour. That's a bit much. But women are...
Well,
an
hour might be a bit much, but Tamara, it's once an hour.
Yeah. In the past, yes.
Okay, so that's the past. That's great. That could be proof of growth if it's 2 hours.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to point out that there is a send us a text message at the very beginning of the description, and you can use that to send an anonymous question or comment. So I'd really appreciate it. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe longer. But yeah, once a day. Once a day. But that's what I wanted to point out. Like, women need to be reassured. Like, it sounds crazy. Guys don't get it. It's like way too much. But that is like what women need to feel loved. Like, that's how we are. And that's what a lot of men don't understand, is how much we need it. And and I was working with a coach who's been on my podcast, And he says that men commit for life. And so it feels like failure when it doesn't work out. And to them, they commit for life. And so they've done the thing that shows that they're in it. But women don't see that. They don't realize that just committing is like what, and just one more sec. Men committing, we don't see it as like the thing that they're doing. And so we just need the reassurance, and guys don't think they need to do much more. And that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from, in my opinion, and this coach's opinion. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just listening to you.
Oh, okay. You put your finger up. I thought you were like going to make a point.
I was just trying to see if I could frame the corner of the. I was just listening to you and fumbling with my hands. So.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were trying to say you wanted to make a point. But yeah. So, I mean, that's really what I want to talk about, or part of it too, is just the differences between men and women, and how just so many people don't get, like, women want to be heard and seen and understood, and men need to be respected. And there's another one I'm missing. I should have asked the coach for all his stuff before. But yeah, I definitely, like, there's just so many differences. And that's, I think, the root of most problems is not understanding the differences between men and women. Like, men are internally focused, women are externally focused, which goes to why we would need reassurance, because we see everything around us, we notice everything around us, and we don't understand that men don't notice everything around them. That's why they can walk over their socks on the ground or whatever, and just, they literally don't see it, because you're like single focused and you have things to do, and that's what you focus on. You don't focus on all the little stuff laying around that we as women see everywhere. Generally speaking, obviously not every woman and every man are that way, but generally speaking, that is an issue.
Okay.
All right. So say it again. You're cutting out.
No, she saw everything, even things that weren't there.
Yes. Yes, I did.
A lot of little extra mean with that red hair.
A little what? I missed that. A little something with the red hair?
A little extra dopamine.
Ah. Yeah. All right. So I say we, like, bottom line, what would you say was worked and didn't work for us? And, like, what would you say to other people in relationships? Or just the first part?
Well, I'm not an expert in relationships. The best thing is just to listen and not have your own opinion before you don't act on your own opinion, your own conclusions before you see it from the other person's ideas. Because Tamara would have all these crazy ideas that be going up in her head and I would show up with blood and sweat and tractor grease in my shirt, and she thought I was over at my other girlfriend's house. I don't know how, and she wouldn't even let me in the house till I took all those clothes off. I don't know why she'd think another girl would want me like that, and what girl gets tractor grease on you, and I'd have sawdust in my hair. Yeah, I just got back from my other girlfriend's. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But that does sound crazy now that you say it.
So you just before you have your opinions, get the facts, know what happened, know what's really going on. Not just, don't listen to the snakes. They talk.
So you were referring to me needing to understand before, not you. Or you're saying both people should.
Well, both, but I when I got home, I was ready to see you and happy and see you and see what was going on, and then I'd hear that I was with my other girlfriend or something, or with some other girl.
There's no way I said that. I didn't say that every time, did I?
Well, you said it enough.
Only if you were later than you said. If you were later than you said, probably.
Which was all the time, one thing I didn't know about when I started working myself, when a piece of something was going to break, and I just had to fix it. There was just, well, that thing broke. I better fix it. Can't go home until it's fixed, because I can't work tomorrow until it's fixed. And then I'd come home drenched in vehicular fluid.
Did you let me know you were going to be late, or did you just show up hours later?
Probably just showed up hours later, because once I started pulling out whatever I had to pull out and fix, I just kind of got into pull it out and fix it mode. Well, I should just say fix it.
So, I mean, that's and that's like one of the issues with the attachment styles. If you have anxious attachment style and someone does not show up as expected, women generally, whoever is anxious, will make up stories until they show up. So if we have the longer the time it takes for you to arrive, the more stories we have made up in our head about what's going on.
Wow, man, she was good entertainment for herself. She had some good ones.
As do all anxious people.
But like I said,
that's the point I'm trying to make, is that it's a common thing. And a lot of guys just think women are crazy, but it's, there's a root cause to a lot of stuff that if everyone understood, the world would be a much better place.
Probably. But then again, you'd be a dude. But, well, yeah, I got the other girl that I'm talking about that I dated after you. She probably should listen to this forecast because she made you look like you're pretty calm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, it takes two for sure. And there's always two sides to everything. And the differences between men and women not being understood is definitely a major factor in stuff that could have been prevented. But yeah, needless to say, how long did we make it? 2 years.
Well, 2 years, but we can still, if we would, I don't know. I don't think there'd be any animosity or any strangeness if we saw each other in person now. I don't think we'd be strangers at all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've
close.
We've talked over the years, so obviously but yeah. But really, relationship wise, at that time for both of us was just not the right time or the right people. I don't know which, but maybe just the time.
Probably the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not sure if I caught the intent of what I was trying to do with this, but we'll see if people find it interesting or not, or if I will do it again or not. But this was the first of potentially a series of talking with exes. And I hope you got something out of it. And thank you for being on. And if you like this episode, be sure to tell your friends about it and rate it as well. All right. Well, thank you again. All right. Bye, everyone.
Frank Talk, Sex and Dating educates.